Anyway, all right. Well, so let's talk about water-based, which is what my channel is kind of more known for.
Yeah.
And the main reason that I discussed that is because water-based has been a different animal. We came from, the water bases of 10 years ago are not the same water bases that we have now. We've gone in a totally different direction, and the gap between durability between water and solvent has significantly closed, and it's become something for on-site finishers, and even larger shops, more of a viable option.
Oh, yes, huge. Look, some people will refer to it as kind of the water-based revolution, and I'm actually part of that. I'm a huge proponent and also perpetuating that very thing. You're 100% right. Water-based is not the same as it once was. Water-based, in fact, actually within North America, it really failed us horrifically back in the early 2000s. It and when I say fail, I may preface that it didn't live up to the necessarily to the standards of what your standard solvent-based users and everything are used to, and what the industry was really expecting it to be.
Yeah.
So it fell short there is really what happened, and unfortunately, it was what it was, and it kind of became one of those products that was just, if you use it, you use it, whatever. You know what I mean? Nothing crazy. You're not really getting a whole lot of advantages out of it besides just kind of going green. Since then, though, I do have to kind of preface where Europe never really experienced that little fall off. They when they started developing a lot of their water-based technology, developed a little bit different. They're using the polyurethane technology, and it has also kind of just naturally gotten better through all of their research and development. And yes, absolutely, over the last 10 years, the advancements in water-based, and like you just said, have really started closing that gap to the solvent-based side because, we're getting better chemical resistance, better durability, dry times, so forth and so on. It kind of, we're really getting there. And I can't stress enough that it's not the same water base as before, because I will say when I do have this conversation, it kind of goes one of two ways. I have somebody in front of me who's might be new to it anyway and is just a huge proponent of it. So that's a great conversation to have. It's very easy. And then there's ones again that have actually had water based and they were like, oh my God, it was horrific, and so those are a lot of people have had that in their or have had that taste in their mouth for a while. Those are definitely ones I encourage to try it again if there's still a want to that, because now there's also different initiatives for using the water base. Some of it could just be as simple as, hey, you want to just have a better environmental initiative, and that's just the way you want it, because that can be a personal preference. It could also just be what your customer base is demanding. So you might end up being forced to have to learn some of these coatings, or it's just like I said, the natural want of, hey, I want to, what's in the market, what's new, and it might just be the avenue you choose to go to at first versus solvent. So again, they have come on by storm, major advancements, and for example. Your standard water-based products, you're going to have your sealers, primers, clear top coats, pigmented top coats. Great. They also come in a single component, which just means straight out of the can, you can spray them. You may reduce them with water. Or they come in two component versions as well, which these are the ones that definitely increase your performance a little with the chemical resistance and durability. So again, the two component water-based urethanes, those just deliver a whole nother level of performance, but you got both options. You've got a single component option and a two component option, at your disposal.
Yeah, and while you're talking about that, I've got some samples here. So this is the universal primer with the 2K over the top of it. I mean, Now this was shot. If I can get the light to hit it right, but
Yeah.
if I've actually done this where I've taken companies solvent and water based and put them side by side, and you'd be hard pressed unless you know a lot about water based that you could tell the difference. It's especially in the clears. I can't see a difference in the clears. Sometimes I can see it in the pigmented, and sometimes I can't. Now it was interesting because a supplier had a training for a particular water-based company, and they did a solvent panel and they did a water-based panel, and pretty much everyone failed. Like it was just basically like a 50-50. It was a total guesswork. They could not tell the difference.
I can't tell my listen. If you put my products side by side, I'm going to sit there and guess too. I mean, there's going to be, like I said, the aesthetic value, the look and the feel and the touch, I'm not going to know the difference if you just put two panels in front of me anymore, you know? And then also even some of the greater advancements in the water, you know, I just spoke about some of that's standard, you know, just the standard stuff that we would use. But then they again, they have even more options to where we have an ultra matte water-based coating, which again repairable, got very scratch resistant, and it's actually repairable. So there's just so many again new advancements with the water-based that just keep coming and coming. This is what we're going to see, especially over the next 5 years plus. The advancements are really all going to be mainly in water base. And now, granted, we're talking a lot of spray application stuff, but even the stuff that is done UV cured stuff. Oh my God, it is amazing. I mean, we have stuff that is zero sheen, anti-glare, anti-fingerprint. You know what I mean? Like crazy coating. You know? All available. I mean, that just kind of goes to tell you that this is where that whole advancement and technology is going. But, you know, we could scale it all the way down just to the simple basics, you know, of just the 1K and 2K water base.
Yeah. Speaking of the zero sheen, so this is a giant piece of wood.
Oh my God,
But this is the water base zero sheen on walnut.
It's beautiful.
Now I didn't prep it very well. You can still see some planer marks and stuff in there, but I just did it just to see what the look was, and I mean it looks awesome. Matter of fact, I'm getting ready to do a pretty large job with your all's natural sheen, and man, I just love it. I just finished up some white oak for a cabinet builder. It was for his personal house. I was like, hey dude, let's do this because his wife just loved it. So.
That's what I say. I can't even stress it enough, man. The trends that are out there, the natural look is just one that I always refer to because I cannot. I'm always, I guess, I'm just impressed by how widely used those products are.
Yeah.
But also, that's one of the biggest trends. I mean, you want very low sheen, and also when we say natural look, the reason why you'll hear that come out of our mouth a lot because you hear low sheen, natural look, whatever, or zero sheens and stuff. The natural look, the reason why it is actually referred to that is it's referring to the performance of not changing the color of the wood.
Right.
Because there are going to be water-based coatings that when you spray it on there, even the walnut, like you have, it pops it. It'll pop that walnut to where it's just, I mean, not in a bad way, just beautiful.
Right.
All the browns and everything just kind of pops out at you. Where when you say natural look, they're actually meant to really not do that. They're meant to just keep that wood as muted as possible to where it just looks like you didn't spray it at all. So that's really the difference because we have a lot of zero sheen stuff too, but not necessarily same as the natural look.
Now, the other thing, too, that I want to mention about that to guys, too, is most of these, and I don't know if Sirca's is the same way, but they're also meant for open poured wood. So, like, especially when you're talking about water-based, this is more an issue than with solvent. But what happens is because of the surface tension, if you have a void like this, it wants to go up to the edge and it doesn't want to roll over into it. And you get, some guys call it bridging. In walnuts, I had a guy the other day that just asked me, said, hey, I finished a lot of walnut. I'm using X brand water base. And I was like, you need to use, you know, an Italian brand, either this, or this, because it actually flows down into it and it keeps
Yep.
it tight to the wood.
Yep.
And a lot of people are confused about that. I posted a picture of a walnut where I used an open poured water based product, and they're like, oh, I can get that look with anything. I was like, no, you can't. You don't understand that it's actually flowing down in those pores, and it's almost like, I mean, it's like super smooth, but you don't have that half filled, half not filled look.
Yes, and that's what I always call the danger zone, because if you are going something for a natural look, well, obviously you don't want any of the pores of the wood filled at all. You want that coating to hug the actual contour of the pore very tight, like you said, not necessarily. Bridging over is a little different. Normally we refer to them as like fat coatings that just start filling those grains. And then you're left with this a look that's not necessarily aesthetically great. That natural look, like I said, and also acrylics are known for that. But they'll hug real tight to the grain, again, which obviously enhances the natural look as well, not changing the color of the wood. But yeah, you're absolutely right, because some of the other, like I said, we're talking about water base, and the water base natural look is going to be different than my water base 5 sheen, my 10 sheen, the 20, and exactly what you said. I can't take my 5 sheen and achieve the same thing as I can with the natural look product.
Yeah.
Because if I do, I'm going to actually start getting exactly what you said. I'm not going to be as tight to the pore as it really should be. It'll look good, but you know what I mean. Not the right tool for the job.
Yeah, right. I mean, if you know the difference, like if I handed a client this and this, they're going to be able to see that difference.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, pretty much now when I do any type of open poured wood, I'm using a open poured because it's always driven me crazy to have that half filled, half not look. And then you're trying to reduce stuff and you're doing all this funky stuff, and it just doesn't make sense anymore.
Yep. And then once you pass it, it's gone. Then it's done.
Yeah.
Then you're in like the stripping territory at that point.
Right.
You know?
Right.
No, I feel you on that. But no, man, water base, I guess you could say wrapped up in a nutshell, the performance is there now. It's definitely a coating I encourage people to try out if they have an interest in it. Just like everything else, everybody is different. It may not fit the bill for certain people, but the technology is there. And if anybody has had a want, or it's been something in the back of their head about maybe exploring again, I encourage it. I also encourage when you are going to experiment with the water-based products, make sure you're experimenting with some type of European water-based product. Obviously, Sirca, we're an Italian manufacturer. Again, that's where we're going to have our tested, tried, and true technology come from. At the same time, I know we're going to get in a little bit of also the Gemini and Sirca relationship on how they're connected. Gemini also has a product line called Evo and Hydropure. That is based on a European resin. So again, you would be getting into, a nice performing product, but again, got European type resins. So they're going to actually have that performance that people are looking for. And I kind of see it all over line of different water-based materials, and some that, some people that like some and don't like the others. Resoundingly, the ones that everybody likes are something that's a European resin.
Absolutely.
It's where it's all coming from. So
if
somebody is watching this, I do encourage you to try a water-based coating that's got some type of European resin makeup, and I'm telling you, I think it's definitely going to change their mind. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Look, Sirca is obviously a European manufacturer. Gemini, we are an American manufacturer. But again, using the European resins, you know what I mean, for that performance, and we just get to make it here. But yeah, definitely, I can't stress it enough. I encourage everybody to get out there and try them. It's a new playing field now.
Yeah. Before we get off this, I do have another one. This right here was shot with the 1K that you sent me, and man, I love this. I mean, I've shot a lot of 1Ks, but man, I don't know what it is. I just love the way this stuff comes off the gun and it looks. And I actually used this in a chest on chest that I did. I did it on all the drawers, the drawer boxes, and I liked it. I enjoy that every morning when I get on. I'm like, man, this stuff feels so nice. It just feels like butter. Yeah, it's awesome. And I'll be honest with you, I love the way that it looks. I mean, it looks like glass off the gun, which is going to be a transition for us to talk a little bit about equipment and water.